Alright, what's going on? So, my name is Riddick Lynn. I'm 17 years old, and recently I've just uploaded my 1 year body transformation video. Now, there is some tips that I learned later on in my journey that would have drastically increased strength and muscle gain that I want to talk about today. Um, if you implement these three tips like I have recently, I guarantee you the muscle growth, the strength improvement, uh, it will be great. And I am so glad that I found these tips. And I wish I could have implemented them sooner into my training. Alright, first tip today that I've implemented into my training and that you should implement into yours is training to failure, close to failure. This has drastically improved my strength and muscle size since I've implemented it. Now, the first part about this, I want to talk about the science behind training to failure and why it's been proven time and time again to improve muscle gain. Now, one of the main drivers in muscle growth is something called mechanical tension, which essentially happens when you perform a movement that requires some sort of contraction in the muscle. For example, when doing a bicep curl, at the top of the movement, when your bicep is contracted, that's mechanical tension. Now, the closer you go to failure during a set, the more muscle fibers that allows at the top of the contraction to be recruited, meaning you get way more muscle activation than if you stopped, say, 5 or 6 reps short of failure. Now, the first few months of my training, I didn't know what this was. I didn't even know this existed, and I believe if I had known, my physique would be so much better than it is right now. This really hindered my progress a lot because I would stop a set when I would feel a little burn, but in reality, I probably had 5 or 6 left in the tank still. Now, one thing to note about training to failure is that you shouldn't be training to failure every single set. If you're doing that, that's a much greater risk of muscle damage, and it'll increase your recovery time, which could affect your workouts in the future. So a general rule of thumb that I like to follow is to stop just shy of 2 to 3 reps until failure, and that just will greatly increase your muscle gain. Alright, now the second tip I have for you today is to add things to your diet. Now, what I mean by this is when you're working out and you want to start eating healthier and optimizing your diet, you don't necessarily have to take every bad food out of it. I believe you should just add more good foods into it. Fresher, whole foods, salmon, nuts, veggies, fruits. A lot of information that goes around the fitness industry nowadays tells you to, track your macros, track your food gram by gram, measuring out your rice. This is a lot of extra work, I feel. You can do it if you want. It's not a bad idea, but what helped me was sticking to an 80-20% rule, which basically meant 80% of the time I was eating healthy, good, clean foods, veggies, salmon, chicken breast, nuts, fruits, and then 20% of the time I would occasionally indulge, maybe eat a piece of chocolate, or if I'm out at a restaurant with people, I'd order a burger. Now, when it comes to the protein part of your diet, a lot of stuff that's said is to eat, 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. I don't believe in this, so what I did and what's worked for me is usually eating anywhere from 120 to 170 grams a day of protein instead of trying to fit all your macros in to getting 153 grams of protein per day. 120 to 170 is much more general, and I feel like in the long run it will help you. Um, and also, uh, the last part about this is you should be eating protein with every meal in order to maximize protein synthesis, whether it is adding a protein scoop in your oatmeal, or eating chicken, or having a protein shake at the end of the day in order to maximize your protein synthesis and get the most out of your protein consumption to fully maximize your muscle growth. Alright, so the third and final tip that I want to talk about today is staying consistent with your training. Now, something that I've associated a lot with staying consistent to my training is discipline. Um, Not only will a good discipline help you in the gym, but it will help you, it's applicable to all areas of your life, you know, um, your school life, being disciplined, getting your homework done, studying for a test, your business life, finishing work for your business. Um, I believe that if you keep a good, consistent training routine and you stay disciplined and follow that, it'll benefit you greatly in the long run. Um, and if you're skipping workouts because you're sore or because it's raining, then I think that is a BS excuse, and you shouldn't do that. Because in the end, if you're skipping workouts, the only person you're really hurting is yourself. So you should really just strive to stay consistent with your workouts, because that will benefit you greatly in the long run. So those were the 3 tips that I wish I had implemented into my training routine earlier, and that you should implement into yours, because those will greatly, greatly improve your physique and your overall health. Just a quick review of them. The first tip was training to failure. I recommend 2 to 3 reps to failure to maximize it. You can train to failure for one set, maybe every once in a while if you want to push out that last rep. That's not a bad thing, but yes, 2 to 3 reps to failure is the general guidance I have for you. Second tip was adding things onto your diet, adding healthier, fresher foods to your diet, um, and sticking to an 80-20 rule. 80% of the time, eating healthy, clean, good foods, and then 20% of the time, you can eat, a burger, some chocolate maybe, but eat it in moderation. Now, the third tip was to stay consistent, and I believe this tip is very important because not only does it let you build a base level of discipline which can be applicable to any skill, any area of your life, um, but when you're skipping a workout, um, the only person that damages is you, so you really shouldn't skip them. I really hope that you implement these tips. They will help you a lot if you implement them. Uh, Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching the video. Make sure to like and subscribe and hit the bell so you get notified for future uploads, and I will see you next time.